Hey guys, so it's time for another of my, I've already forgotten what I'm calling them. What'd you do this month? That's what it's called. God, I fail. Anyway, so we have another month of this, so let's get started. I saw, 4 movies this month. I thought it was 3, but it was 4. The first one I saw was, early in the month, I saw Birdman, which I really enjoyed. It was weird. It was a very weird movie, but I absolutely adored the way it was filmed and directed. It was so different and so fun. I loved it. And I do get why there was so much hype about it during award season. And I also understand why the award that did win, it was very deserving, especially the directing award, because that Birdman was beautifully directed. I loved the way it was filmed. So, but yes, I loved Birdman. I would probably give it a 4.5. I don't know. I just, for some reason, there's something about it that can't get it all the way to a 5 for me. But I think it has slightly to do with the ending. The ending, I was like, no! But I really enjoyed it. If you have not seen Birdman, I highly recommend it. It was such a good movie. The next one I saw was Cinderella. I went to theaters with my mom to see Cinderella, and it was fun. It was a fun, cute movie. It was basically from the commercials you can see, it's the live action version of the animated one, except there's no singing in it. Any of the songs from the animated are not in this one. And also, me and my mom agreed that we could see hints of Ella Enchanted and Ever After, which makes sense since they're both based off Cinderella. But I saw little hints of those movies in this one too. And I have to say, the dress that Cinderella wears to the ball was stunning. I never thought I would find a Cinderella ball gown that I loved more than Brandy's version in the Cinderella she did with Whitney Houston. But the dress Lily James wears in this version of Cinderella might have beaten Brandy's dress. The cast was perfect. I loved Lily James as Cinderella. I liked seeing her in something else because the only thing I've seen her in is Downton Abbey. Same thing with Richard Madden. I've only seen him in Game of Thrones. It was a little weird to see his face clean shaven because I'm so used to Robb Stark. The rest of the cast was great. Kate Blanchett, Helena Bonham Carter as the fairy godmother was hilarious. And I cannot remember the actresses' names, but Daisy from Downton Abbey and Bonnie from the A&E Bonnie and Clyde little miniseries were perfect as the evil stepsisters. They were hilarious. And yeah, overall I enjoyed it. It was cute. I would give it a 3.5. Yeah, I'm good with a 3.5 because, like I said, it was essentially the animated movie, so there was not that much difference except there was no singing. There were a few little changes to make it more interesting in real life, but overall, yeah, I enjoyed it. It was cute. It was fun. Next I saw Insurgent with my friend Tiara and her mom. I was looking forward to Insurgent, but it wasn't I wasn't as hyped about seeing it as I am going to be in November when I see Mockingjay, but I was excited to see what happened next with Triss and Four and everyone else in the series, because I haven't read the books. I know, blasphemous. I have the first one, but I haven't read it yet. But, I went and seen Divergent last year. I wanted to see Insurgent. When saw it, I enjoyed it. It was a bit confusing at times, though. I'm hoping maybe if I get around to reading the books will clear it up. But I had the same problem with Divergent, too. Just confusion about some of the world building and how the world works. Once again, Shailene Woodley was perfect as Triss. I think my favorite scene, Shailene acting-wise, was the scene when they were in Candor and she had to get shot with the truth serum. And just Shailene's acting that scene out was, I loved it. It was so good. I'm really curious about what's going to happen next in Allegiant, even though I've been spoiled on the big thing about Allegiant. I've heard a rumor that they're making that into 2 parts, which I was like, okay. I really hate this new trend of splitting the last books a series into 2 parts, but what? I really hope it's not true, because I don't know, though. Maybe it needs to be split into 2. I don't know, but we'll see. And then the last movie I saw in March was Silence of the Lambs. Yes, I know what you're thinking. You haven't seen Silence of the Lambs? No, I haven't, because I'm not a big horror film person, and the only reason I watched it was because I'm taking a horror genre class this semester, and that was one of the movies we had to watch. I liked it. I feel like it's one of those movies that is so hyped as being one of the best horror films that you expect it to be this big, great thing, and I didn't think it was a big, great, big thing. Like, there were some very creepy parts, do not get me wrong. There were plenty of parts where I was cringing, and I was just like, oh my god. But overall, I didn't find it that scary. But then again, after watching it, I don't feel like the intention is for it to be scary. I feel like it's more psychologically scary than actual, like, horror scary. I don't know what that was, but you know what I mean? But I did enjoy it. I'm happy I watched it because now I can get all the jokes. So there's that. There's a positive. So we're going to move on to TV shows, and I've only started watching one TV show, and that is the CW's iZombie, which I was looking so forward to because I was excited mainly about the cast, because you got Rose McIver, I think that's how you say her last name, who I saw play Tinkerbell on Once Upon a Time, and she was in it's a sequel to Flowers in the Attic, that Lifetime's doing. She played Kathy. And then I knew Robert Buckley, I think is his last name, from playing Clay on One Tree Hill. Then you had Ali Mashaka, who, if you watch Disney Channel, you know who Ali Mashaka is. And you also had David Anders, who I've seen in Vampire Diaries as Uncle John, Once Upon a Time as freaking Dr. Whale, and I think there's another show I've seen him in, but I can't remember it now. But yeah, so I was really excited about the show. Plus, it was zombies, and Rob Thomas is behind it, and I love Veronica Mars, so I was like, yay! And I think we're 3 episodes in, and I really like it. It's different, because as someone who watches The Walking Dead, going from that to this is kind of a culture shock in a way, because they're completely different zombie shows. Like, I've seen people on Tumblr say that iZombie is basically Veronica Mars, but with zombie lead character, and I'm like, yeah, it is. But I do enjoy it. I'm really interested to see where it goes from here, because I do think it's an interesting concept. Her eating the brains, though, kind of reminds me of Warm Bodies, and I know it's based off a comic book, and I really want to read the comic book, because I've heard from people who've read the comic book that the show is completely different from the books, and I kind of knew that going in because I'd read an interview with Rob Thomas where he said the show is going to be loosely based on the comics, which I guess is pretty true. But yes, I'm enjoying it, so I can't wait to see what happens next on the show. Books, I only read 1 book this month. I feel so disappointed in myself. I was doing so good, at least having like 2, but only 1 book this month, and that was Isla and the Happily Ever After. I enjoyed Isla, but it's definitely not my favorite of Stephanie Perkins' books. I can't choose between Anna and Lola. There are days when I'm like, Lola's my favorite, and there are days where I'm like, no, Anna's my favorite, but I can definitely say that Isla is not my favorite. Isla is in 3rd place. I don't know what it is. Like, I did like the departure in her typical storytelling that she did in Anna and Lola, with the whole book being their relationship, where you actually get to see the relationship, opposed to how it was in Anna and Lola, where the build-up was the whole book, in the end they get together. But, so I did like that, but I think my problem was with Isla and Josh. Now, it's been a while since I've read Anna, so I don't remember if Josh is the same way is in Anna as he is in Isla, but my problems with those 2 characters was with Josh, he seemed like a letdown compared to St. Clair and Cricket, who both seem to have these big personalities. Even Cricket, who in the book I felt like was definitely shyer than Lola, but he still had a big personality, and obviously St. Clair is just brimming with personality. And Josh, I don't feel like his character wasn't as big as St. Clair and Cricket, so I wasn't immediately in love with him like I was with those 2. And then with Isla was a drastic change, in my opinion, compared to Anna and Lola, who both were girls that I felt had a lot of confidence, but were still insecure about when it came to their relationships with their St. Clair and Cricket. Whereas Isla was insecure from the beginning, so I think that was also kind of a shock to me, because I was used to reading female leads like Lola and Anna, and then you get this complete opposite in Isla. And I think also it was difficult for me to read because I feel like I relate a lot to Isla. So I think that was the other problem I had with it, because I was like, I don't want to read about a girl who's just like me. But I did enjoy it. I gave it a 4 because I couldn't in my heart give it like a 3.5, but I knew I couldn't give it higher than a 4, but I knew I also couldn't give it lower than a 4 because it was still good. I still enjoyed it. It's just, it annoyed me sometimes and frustrated me sometimes, and it was kind of weird to get used to these new characters. Album, I didn't get it out of my freaking drawer, but I got Kelly Clarkson's Piece by Piece album this month, and I'm in love with it. There are 3 artists that it does not matter if I haven't heard the album. If they release a new album, I will get it, and that is Pink, Avril Lavigne, and Kelly Clarkson. Katy Perry is slowly becoming part of the list too, but those 3 are definite. So when I went to Walmart and saw that Kelly Clarkson had a new album, I was like, I'm buying this, and it's so good. It's such a good album. I think my favorite song on it is probably, obviously, Piece by Piece, but I also really love Someone and Nostalgia. Is it Nostalgia or is it Nostalgic? I can't remember. And Heartbeat Song, like, it's a great album. But then again, Kelly Clarkson's albums are always good, so I'm not surprised. So, yeah, that's it. That was what I did this month. Have you seen any of the movies I mentioned? Have you watched iZombie, since that's the only show? Have you read Isla? Have you listened to Kelly Clarkson's new album? Tell me down below. And also tell me, what did you see? What did you read? What did you listen to? What fandoms did you fall in love with in March? Let me know down below. Let's talk, people. This is what this is for. We talk. We share. I'm being weird, so I'm going to stop this now. So, until next time, like, favorite, comment, subscribe. Till next time, bye, guys.